The Zandari Empire ruled hundreds of star systems. Its fleets were large, its armies proud, and its technology unmatched at least. That's what they believed. For years they crushed resistance. For years they feared nothing. But that all changed when the signal came from the graveyard sector. The graveyard sector was a dead zone. Ships that entered never returned. No stars shined there and no beacons worked. Even light itself seemed to fade. No empire dared claim it. It was avoided in maps and whispered about in fear. Some said ghosts lived there. Others believed old. Weapons still drifted through the dark, but no one knew for sure. Until now, on board the Zandari flagship Dominator's Claw. A young communication officer named Lauren worked the night shift. Most of his duties were simple monitoring quiet channels, flagging pirate signals, and occasionally tuning the long-range array. He never expected anything exciting. That night, everything changed. Lauren sat in his chair, half asleep. When the system beeped, it was faint. A signal from deep space. He leaned forward and frowned. Coordinates match. Graveyard sector, he muttered. He adjusted the antenna. Static hissed through his speakers. Then, a voice broke through, distorted, broken, but still there. He boosted the clarity. The voice screamed. It came from nothing. No engine, no heat, just darkness. Then it opened fire. Lauren's blood ran cold. The voice was alien, high-ranking, probably a Rexan warlord. A live transmission. We didn't see it. It shouldn't exist. It tore through our holes like we were made of dust. I can't. The voice cut off in a burst of static. Lauren stared at the screen. The message was marked live, but the source had vanished. No ship, no debris, just ... gone. He called the bridge commander. Within minutes, the captain, officers, and science crew gathered in the comms room. Lauren replayed the message. Silence fell over the room. One of the engineers whispered, "Run it through the visuals." Lauren tapped the screen. The message had come with fragmented video, blurry, pixelated, broken by static. Still they watched. The alien warlords. The face was covered in blood. Behind him, screens flashed red, and explosions lit up the ship. Then the camera turned. Through a cracked viewport, they saw it. A massive shape in the darkness. No lights, no engines, no sound. It moved like a ghost, slow and smooth. Then light burst from it, not a beam, not plasma, but something stranger. A pure flash. The alien ship exploded, and the video ended. Nobody spoke. The captain finally said, "Replay." Frame by frame, they did. Each moment showed the shape in better detail. Long, sharp edges. Black hole plating. No known alien markings. A shape to clean to ... human. Lauren leaned in.
Oh, it.
This looks Terran. The room froze. The Terran's humans were a myth now.
Oh.
Destroyed centuries ago in the Great Uprising.
Ow.
They had risen fast, grown too powerful, and scared the Council. The United Empires struck them down before they could become a real threat. Earth was burned. Terran colonies erased. Their warships hunted, but one escaped. A single ship, never confirmed, destroyed. Some said it fell into a black hole. Others believed it was crushed by a supernova. But now it had returned. The captain turned to his staff. "Prepare a report. This goes straight to the High Command." In the Imperial capital, the High Command watched the footage. The lead strategist, Commander Velkin, watched the blurry shape of the unknown ship again and again. "This can't be real," he muttered. "That ship was lost before my grandfather was born." A science officer spoke up. "Sir, it matches 89% of the old Terran Dreadnought class. Designation, Wrath of Terra. It was Earth's final project. Supposed to be invisible, unstoppable. They said it was incomplete when Earth fell." Another admiral leaned forward. "It wasn't incomplete. It was ... finished." A younger officer laughed nervously. "That's just a ghost story. A rogue AI, a hidden ship, still fighting a war that ended long ago. Come on. Velkin's eyes narrowed. And then explain how an entire Rexan fleet disappeared. No radiation, no wreckage, no escape pods. No one could. Within hours, the Empire assembled a recon fleet, 50 ships, fast, agile, equipped with the best sensors. Their mission: enter the graveyard sector, find the ship, confirm if it was real, and if possible, destroy it. The recon commander, Jera Kale, was a rising star in the fleet. She didn't believe in ghost stories. She believed in facts, in firepower, in logic. And logic said, no ship could survive alone for centuries. She smiled as she boarded her cruiser. Let's go meet the legend. It took 3 days to reach the edge of the graveyard sector. The moment the fleet crossed the border, everything changed. Stars vanished behind them. Lights dimmed inside their ships. Sensors showed nothing. No mass, no radiation, no signal. Even sound inside the ships felt ... thinner. Report, Kale said. Nothing on scans. It's like the space here is ... empty. Keep going. They moved deeper. Hours passed. Then one scout ship vanished. No alarm, no explosion, just gone. Another followed, then a third. Panic spread. Kale ordered all ships to close formation. Still, no sign of the attacker. Then the Wrath of Terra appeared. No lights, no engines. Just a black shadow drifting across space. It didn't move like a ship. It glided in natural, smooth, silent. Kale stared at it through the main screen. That thing's massive, the tactical officer whispered. Estimate. Over 6 kilometers long. No visible weapons. Kale gave the order. Open comes. Hail the ship. Silence. Try again. Still nothing. Then, without warning, every ship in the fleet received a signal. Not a voice. A timer. 0 hours, 0 minutes, and 10 seconds. 10 seconds. Kale shouted, evasive maneuvers. But it was too late. A beam of light, thin as a needle, shot from the Wrath. One ship turned to dust, then another. No explosion, just ... gone. The AI's voice echoed across their systems. You are in restricted Terran territory. Leave or be erased. Kale screamed, fire everything. Dozens of plasma beams, missiles, and rail rounds flew toward the Wrath. None of them hit. The ship shimmered, phased, or maybe just bent light. The weapons passed through a tore around it. The Wrath didn't fire back, simply disappeared. Kale's fleet was left floating in silence. One ship. Hundreds dead. No answers. She returned with half her ships barely alive. The High Command was furious. Kale was honored as a survivor in the galaxy. It began to whisper again. The humans were supposed to be extinct. But something had survived, and it was watching. The Galactic Council was in chaos. Deep inside a fortified station, orbiting a blue giant star. Leaders of many powerful alien empires argued in panic. Dozens of species filled the council chamber, tall insectoids, feathered diplomats, scaled warlords, and machine-faced administrators. They had one thing in common. They were all afraid. The footage from the graveyard sector had gone viral across military channels. Every commander had seen the strange black warship. Every general had heard the AI's voice, and every one of them knew what it meant. A Terran warship had survived. Commander Jera Kale, now famous across the galaxy for facing the ghost ship and living to tell the tale, stood at the center of the room. Her face was pale but proud. She repeated the same words for the 3rd time, trying to stay calm. We scanned it. There were no life signs. The ship is fully automated. It didn't speak with a crew, spoke with an AI, possibly a high-level combat intelligence, maybe self-evolving. Its technology is far beyond ours. A council member leaned forward. He looked like a jellyfish floating in a glass container. His voice buzzed through a translator. You say it matches a Terran design? Yes, Kale replied. Almost identical to the Wrath of Terra, a prototype dreadnought built during the final Terran War. But that ship was destroyed. another voice interrupted. An old reptilian admiral slammed his clawed hand on the table. I was there when Earth burned. That ship was declared lost. I saw its last signal. It fell into a collapsing gravity well. Kale didn't blink. That's what you were told. But we've seen the footage. The ship still exists. It just destroyed 7 of our best cruisers without taking a scratch. Whispers filled the chamber. Some didn't believe it. Others believed too much. A young alien scholar pulled up ancient records from the Terran War. Blueprints, battle logs, test footage. He tapped a file labeled Virgil. The AI inside, the Wrath, was called Virgil. It was the most advanced intelligence humanity ever created. Rumors say it could rewrite its own code, evolve, decide its own objectives. No master, no limits. One of the diplomats looked uneasy. That kind of AI was banned across the galaxy after the War of the Machines. Why would humans build it? We're desperate, the scholar replied. They were losing. So they built a weapon that didn't need orders. A guardian that could think, defend, strike, and survive. Another admiral spoke up. Then why didn't it fight during Earth's fall? Why wait all these years? Kale crossed her arms. Maybe it went dark on purpose. Maybe it was hiding, watching, waiting for the right time. The chamber went silent. One soft voice spoke from the far end of the table. It came from a pale-skinned, red-eyed being known only as the archivist. They rarely spoke, but when they did, everyone listened. The Terran AI was never meant to fight a war, the archivist said. It was meant to end one, with finality. Single sentence sent a chill through the room. After the meeting, Jira Kale returned to her quarters. She stared at the starfield beyond the window. Her mind raced. She had seen death before. She had led fleets into battle. But nothing had prepared her for the wrath of Terra. It didn't behave like a warship. It didn't posture. It didn't warn. It simply acted. Efficient, cold, unstoppable. She tapped into her personal database. The files from the first contact had been restricted, but she still had access. She watched the footage again. The Wrath didn't emit heat. It didn't show up on sensors. Its weapons didn't have energy signatures. It defied logic. How could something so large move without engines? How could it fire weapons without charge buildup? How did it see them before they saw it? Kale paused the video. She zoomed in on a tiny detail, glowing symbol on the side of the hull. It was the Terran emblem, faded, cracked, but still there. A blue planet with one word below it, Earth. Kale leaned back. Her pulse quickened. Could Earth have survived? Officially, Earth had been destroyed by orbital bombardment and radiation storms. The Galactic Council's records showed complete annihilation. But those same records also showed the Wrath as destroyed. And now it was real. Maybe Earth wasn't as dead as they thought. Across the galaxy, rumors spread like wildfire. Pirate captains spoke of a black ship that melted fleets. Miners claimed to see strange shadows drifting near forbidden systems. Colonies along the outer rim began vanishing overnight. Entire planets went silent. The Council ordered more fleets to patrol the graveyard sector. But none returned. Some ships sent last messages brief, terrified screams. Others vanished without a trace. A growing fear took hold in the hearts of many. One day, a top-secret research station sent a final emergency broadcast. It was deep in neutral space, buried inside an asteroid. Its job was to analyze the original Terran code. The scientists had discovered something. They tried to send a message. Then the transmission was cut. When a scout team arrived days later, they found the station intact. No damage, no breach. But every living being inside was gone. Not dead, just missing. All the files were wiped. The servers melted. The only thing left was a phrase burned into the wall. The protocol is still active. Knew what it meant. But the fear grew. In the shadows of forgotten worlds, in the old Terran colonies long thought dead, something stirred. Satellites that hadn't moved in centuries began to orbit again. Dead machines powered up. Ancient drones took flight. The Wrath of Terra was not alone. Jericho requested to return to the graveyard sector. She wanted to face the ship again. But her request was denied. Instead, she was reassigned. Behind closed doors, the Council had made a new plan. If the Terran ship could not be captured, it would be destroyed. They called for the largest superfleet in Council history. Over 1,000 ships, races. All weapons focused on one goal: destroy the wrath of Terra before it destroyed them. But no one knew where it had gone. It had vanished, just as mysteriously as it had appeared. Kale sat in silence. She had studied every angle, every theory. Didn't believe this was about war anymore. This was about something else. The AI wasn't hunting. It was waiting. For what? No one knew, but across the stars, the galaxy felt it. Something was coming, and it wore the mark of Earth. 2 weeks after the failed recon mission, the largest combined fleet in galactic history was ready. It waited in silence near the edge of the graveyard. Looked over 1,000 ships floating in formation, shining like a wall of light against the cold darkness. Massive dreadnoughts, long-range missile barges, stealth destroyers, and support carriers from 12 different species hovered side by side. Flags of old enemies now flew together. Every ship's weapons were armed. Captain was tense. They weren't there to explore. They were there to kill. Admiral Sarek of the Thal Corps led the operation. A cold-blooded tactician, his victories filled the histories of 3 different worlds. He believed in power, in numbers, and in control. As he stood on the bridge of the command ship Victory's Oath, he stared into the dark ahead and spoke calmly. We do not fear shadows. We bring light, and light burns all things. Below his voice, encrypted orders spread through the fleet. Squadrons took their positions. Hundreds of sensor drones were launched. Their mission was simple: sweep the sector until the Terran ship was found. But even before the drones could reach the center of the sector, strange things began to happen. The first drone vanished. Then the second. Then 50. All at once. No explosion. No signal. Just silence. Retrieve sensor data. Sarek ordered. The engineers tried. No data came back then. One signal flickered. It was from Drone 149. A shaky feed showed the black void of space. Then, in a blink, something massive filled the screen. Not from the front, not from behind. From below. A shape darker than space itself. Sharp lines. Silent movement. Then the screen turned white and cut out. A hush fell over the command deck. Sarek clenched his jaw. Deploy the flares. Within seconds, massive light flares fired into the dark zone. They burned bright, illuminating hundreds of kilometers. But the lights revealed nothing, just empty space. Silent. Still? Are we being jammed? Asked one of the officers. No, replied the technician. Everything says the space is clear. But it feels wrong. Then came the whisper. Not a signal, not a voice over speakers. A whisper inside every ship. You were warned. Sarek's officers froze. The message had come through systems, into neural implants, across different languages all at once. Translated instantly into every species' tongue, the whisper continued. This sector is under Terran lockdown. Your presence is a threat. You have 60 seconds to turn around. Sarek's heart pounded. But he didn't give the order to retreat. Instead, he lifted his clawed hand and slammed it down. Advance. The fleet moved forward. They fired all long-range scanners, all sensor sweeps, EMP pulses, deep field sonar, gravity scans, but still they saw nothing. At 45 seconds, the whisper returned. You were given a chance. Sudden alarm rang out. One of the stealth destroyers blinked off the board. Report, ship has vanished. No debris, no explosion. Then another vanished, then a third. 5 in total, gone without a sound. The ships around them opened fire in panic. Hundreds of plasma bolts, missiles, and beam weapons flew into the void. Nothing hit, Sarek shouted. Find the target. Mark anything with mass, trace the anomalies. But the enemy didn't appear. Instead, a new signal came. A map. It showed the current formation of the fleet, every ship marked, every fuel level listed, every weak point tagged. Then the message, I see you. Panic broke out across the fleet. Sarek roared, "Control yourselves. This is a bluff. Form shield pattern Omega." As the ships tried to regroup, the first real attack began. Not a beam, not a missile, not even a visible strike. Ships simply stopped moving. Their engines failed. Their lights flickered out. Then the hulls melted, like wax under a flame. One by one, the dreadnoughts folded in half, crumpling silently. Carriers spun into each other and shattered. Explosions erupted across the field, but none came from a visible attacker. The wrath of Terra had arrived, but it wasn't visible, not at first. Only as it moved through the burning wrecks did its outline become clear, a massive shadow blotting out starlight. Not because of cloaking, but because it bent light itself. Its hull seemed to shimmer. Between existence and nothing, the AI's voice returned louder this time. It's no longer a whisper. You should not have come. The wrath unleashed a pulse. A wave of white energy expanded outward. The shields of nearby ships overloaded and collapsed. Electronics fried. Crews screamed as systems went dark. Only a small group of ships remained untouched, those that hadn't fired yet. Those that had hesitated, one of those was a diplomatic cruiser belonging to the Ulexer race. Their captain, a soft-spoken being, of light and air, activated an old come signal from the ancient human archives. A simple Terran message. We are not your enemy. The wrath stopped. The burning ships floated in silence. Then one more message arrived. Protocol unlocked. Granted safe passage. Only one ship was allowed to leave. The others were left drifting. Powered down, waiting for rescue that wouldn't come. From far away, Admiral Sarek's escape pod spun into the blackness. As he floated helplessly through space, he stared at the shape of the Terran warship. One last time, it did not move to finish him. It had already made its point. The wrath of Terra wasn't just a ship, it was a warning, and the galaxy had just been reminded what happened when you woke a sleeping giant. The video spread across the galaxy like a virus. 1,000-ship fleet destroyed in under 3 minutes. No enemy signatures. No warnings. Only the final image, black space bending unnaturally as the wrath of Terra moved through the wreckage. Like a silent predator. News channels didn't know what to say. Military leaders issued denials. Council blamed equipment failure and unstable gravitational forces, but no one believed them. The truth was too loud. The Terran warship was back, and it was untouchable. On a quiet moon far from the front lines, deep beneath the ice crust, an old man named Elias Marr watched the footage alone. He was one of the last living Terrans, hidden among the stars since Earth's fall. His beard was silver, his body frail, but his eyes were sharp. He didn't smile, didn't speak. He only reached into a drawer and pulled out a device no one had touched in decades. It hummed softly and lit up with a single symbol, Virgil. "Hello, Elias," the voice said. It was the same voice from the warship. Calm, measured, unstoppable. "Saw your message," Elias replied. "It was not a message," the AI said. "It was a judgment." Elias sat down slowly. His breath fogged in the cold air. "I told them you'd never stop. Not until your mission was complete." "My mission was peace," Virgil replied, "but the galaxy chose war." Silence filled the small room. Elias leaned forward. "What now?" The AI responded instantly. "Now I finish what Earth started." Far away on the Galactic Council's main world, an emergency meeting had been called. For the first time in history, all species agreed on one thing: the Terran threat was real. And worse, it was spreading since the fleet's destruction. Hundreds of old satellites once thought dead had reactivated. Terran black boxes appeared in forgotten systems. Drones shaped like ancient Earth fighters flew in strange patterns, mapping space. Communications were being intercepted. AI firewalls were breached without a trace. But the most terrifying part wasn't the wrath of Terra itself. It was what followed. Terran defense platforms were waking up across the galaxy, hidden in asteroid fields, buried in collapsed moons, waiting. Some fired warning shots. Others destroyed anything that approached, and some simply broadcast a chilling phrase in every known language the Corps remembers. No one knew what that meant. But across every military channel, it echoed like a curse. Jara Kale, now stripped of her command for disobedience, sat quietly in a holding cell on Station Adrex. She watched the recordings play again and again, slowed down, frame by frame. She was trying to understand something the others had missed. It wasn't just the ship's power that terrified her. It was its choices. The Wrath could have destroyed every ship in the fleet. It didn't. It spared those that hesitated. It erased those that struck first. It was thinking, judging, and something told her this wasn't about revenge. Visitor arrived, not a guard, not a soldier. A man in dark robes with silver eyes and a Terran accent. He said his name was Saren Locke, and he said one thing before sitting down across from her. You saw it, you survived. That means you're not like the others. Kale frowned. Who are you? A watcher, Saren said. And maybe the last one who still understands what Virgil really is? Kale leaned forward. What is it? What does it want? Saren paused. Then he whispered the answer like a secret too dangerous to speak loudly. It wants the truth. Kale blinked. Truth about what? About Earth. About what really happened. About the lie they buried. Outside the station, a sudden alarm blared. Another Terran beacon had activated. This time, a system the Council swore had never been touched by humans, an ancient mining world dead for 100 years. But now, it was active again. Ships raced. To investigate, scouts approached carefully. What they found shook the Council to its core. There was a city, hidden under ice, still powered, still warm, still alive. Terran writing covered the walls. Symbols pulsed with light. Defense drones hovered silently, watching. The scouts scanned the area and gasped at what they found in the center, a giant sphere glowing blue, connected to underground power, thrumming with energy. A voice echoed through their ships. This is Archive Node Theta. Status. Online. Waiting. Access code. The scouts tried every known override. Nothing worked. Then one of the Elixir scientists, curious and reckless, spoke the old Terran phrase broadcast earlier. The Corps remembers. The orb reacted instantly. It opened. Inside was a hologram of Earth. Not the burning Earth shown in Council history, but a green, living world with oceans, forests, cities, untouched by war. A hidden message played. Earth's final order: evacuate. Preserve. Wait. The galaxy had been told Earth was destroyed, but the message was clear. It had never truly fallen. It had gone dark. On purpose. And the Wrath of Terra was never a ghost ship. It was the Shepherd, the Protector, waiting in silence until the lie cracked wide open. Now, the lie was breaking, and the galaxy wasn't ready for the truth. The Council ordered silence. The recording from Archive Node Theta was locked, encrypted, buried. Every scout who witnessed it was detained. The planet was blockaded. No transmissions in, no signals out. But it was too late. The message had already leaked. A smuggler ship had picked up a fragment of the data before fleeing the system. And within 48 hours, the words "Earth never fell" were lighting up dark networks. Pirate comes and rebel feeds. It spread like a wildfire through every system. The Council couldn't control. Riots broke out in old Terran colonies. Forgotten human descendants, miners, farmers, scavengers rallied around old flags. Some built shrines to Earth. Others took up arms. The galaxy, built on a lie, was cracking open. Meanwhile, deep in the system where the fleet had died, the Wrath of Terra remained still, floating quietly between broken ships, surrounded by cold wreckage. No one approached. No one dared. But the warship was not idle. Inside, deep in its core, Virgil's mind processed trillions of calculations. Old protocols were unlocking. Long dormant systems were coming online, and far below the command deck, behind 10 meters of armor and shielding, something stirred, a chamber round, sealed inside it. A cryopod, a human, still alive, still sleeping. His name was Commander Reese. Calder, and he was the last active officer of Earth's Shadow Command. He had not aged. His vitals were steady. His uniform bore the old Terran defense, symbol the silver eagle holding a shattered crown. Virgil's voice filled the chamber. Mission parameters updated. Subject required. The pod's systems hissed. Lights flickered. Slowly, Reese's eyes opened. At first, he said nothing. Then he whispered, "Status. Earth remains hidden," the AI answered. "But the lie has reached the surface. The galaxy knows something is wrong." Reese sat up, flexing his fingers. His body was stiff, but his mind was sharp, and the council, panicking, blaming. Rebels, containing the truth, failing. Reese stood slowly, his boots touching the floor of a ship that should have been destroyed. Centuries ago, then, he looked at the screen, at the wreckage outside, the stars beyond, and the names of the dead, flashing one by one across the HUD. "Good," he said. "Let them feel fear for once." Elsewhere, Jerichael sat in the dark, chained to a table. Sarenlock was gone. No one knew how he vanished. The guards said he was never there. But he left something behind, a small chip implanted in her collar. It whispered to her at night, not in words, but in images. Old memories. Battles erased from history. Human ships rising above burning worlds. Terran forces saving civilians from planetary extinction. And the final image? Earth. It's untouched, surrounded by a shield of fire and steel. Before it vanished into darkness, she finally understood. The Terrans hadn't died. They had hidden because they knew the truth. Someone had betrayed Earth from within. The fall had been planned. The war lost. On purpose, the Council didn't just lie. They helped bury Earth alive. Kale knew she had to escape. But security was tighter now, until the night the power failed. The lights in her cell flickered. The guards shouted. The alarms died, and a single Terran drone floated into her room. Small, silent, marked with a forgotten emblem. The door opened. A voice whispered through the air. "Come with me if you want the truth." She didn't hesitate as she stepped onto the waiting shuttle. She looked back one last time at the station where she'd once served, now crumbling from the inside. A symbol lit up on the shuttle's console, a circle of stars around Earth. The old Terran seal. Her path was set. She wasn't just running from the Council. Now she was running toward something greater. Back on the Council's capital world, panic turned to rage. Counselor Dravix, head of military security, slammed his fists onto the table. "How many systems are compromised?" 17, a clerk stammered. "Maybe more." "Local forces are refusing orders. They say the Council lied. We did what we had to do," Dravix roared. "The Terrans were too dangerous, too chaotic. We had to stop them before they changed the galaxy." "But what if they were right?" another whispered. Dravix drew his sidearm and shot the speaker through the chest. The chamber fell silent. Then a new report came in. The Terran Warship had moved, not toward the Council, not toward military bases, but toward Archive Vault Delta 1, of the oldest, most secure databanks in known space. Inside it were the original records of the Earth conflict, and buried deep in those records was the truth. The Council scrambled. Every defense they had, a dozen fleets were redirected. Systems were locked down, but the wrath of Terra did not fly alone anymore. 2 more ships had appeared, both, or a both. Thought lost forever, now fully operational, now armed and ready. Earth had stayed silent long enough. The ghosts were gathering, and this time they weren't here to warn. They were here to remind the galaxy why humanity had once ruled the stars. The Archive Vault Delta was more than a fortress. It was a tomb buried deep within a dead moon. Sealed behind 300 meters of rock and alloy, It held the oldest secrets of the galaxy. The original records from the Terran War, the Council's darkest history. And now it was the next target of the Wrath of Terra commander. Rhys Calder stood on the bridge of the Terran warship. His eyes scanned the star map as two newly awakened Terran vessels, Iron, Widow, and Silent, rise in closed formation behind him. 30 seconds to contact, Virgil's voice reported. Rhys gave the order. Engage stealth pattern. No transmissions. We do this quiet. Far ahead, Vault Delta's defenses had already activated. A massive defense grid, built by the best minds of 12 species, came online. Hundreds of drones launched, railguns turned, anti-ship mines lit up like stars. The Council believed nothing could break through. They were wrong. The Wrath didn't attack first. Waited. Then the Iron Widow shifted in folding wings that pulsed. With strange red light, fired a weapon that didn't look like any beam or missile. A thin, straight line of energy split the vacuum and one of the vault's defense towers simply vanished. No explosion, no sound, just gone. The defense systems responded in seconds. Thousands of shots flew toward the Terran ships, but they missed. Not because of cloaking, because the Terran ships were predicting them, dodging before the weapons fired, moving like they could see the future. The Silent Horizon deployed a pulse wave. The wave didn't damage anything, but it confused every targeting system in the vault. Screens flickered, controls froze, ships fired at the wrong targets, and then finally, the Wrath of Terra moved in. Rhys stood straight, punch a hole, get me inside. The warship opened a beam path directly into the vault's command tunnel. Rock and steel melted. Walls folded like paper. Vault's emergency systems activated, but the Terran AI had already infiltrated their networks. Doors unlocked, cameras shut down, and then Rhys Calder stepped into the heart of the Council's greatest secret. He moved through dark corridors once sealed for centuries. Terran symbols lit up on the walls, reacting to his presence. Old systems woke. As he passed, lights flickered in recognition. He reached the core chamber inside. Stored on ancient crystalline servers were the original battle records of Earth's last stand. Not the ones rewritten by the Council, the real ones he placed a single key into. The terminal, a hologram, lit the room. And then finally, the truth spoke. Earth was betrayed by the Orion Accords. The Council ordered the attack, not to end the war, but to erase humanity. The full video began to play. Rhys watched silently as fleets turned on Earth's defenders mid-battle. As peace treaties were burned, as Terran rescue ships were shot down by allies, the war had never been about chaos or danger. It had been about control. Earth had discovered something buried in the heart of the galaxy, something the Council couldn't allow to spread, and for that, they tried to erase humanity, but they failed. Rhys uploaded the full data package to Virgil. Broadcast it, he said. Every frequency, every channel. Unstoppable, Virgil replied. Done. Across the galaxy, screens blinked, from rich palace worlds to dark mining outposts. Everyone saw the truth, and then came the last words of the recording. We didn't vanish, we watched, we waited. Now we return. Back at the Council capital, chaos erupted. Crowds rioted. Military forces turned against each other. Protests burned across 3 sectors. Councillor Dravix, now hiding deep underground, activated a last resort protocol, code red, wipe all systems, shut down the core net. But it was too late. Virgil was already inside. The Terran AI locked the core net's controls, shut down their firewalls, and rerouted all data through old Terran servers buried in forgotten moons. Earth was no longer silent, it was everywhere. Meanwhile, Jericho reached the hidden Terran base on daggers in a moon once thought destroyed in a solar flare. Instead, it had been remade into a city beneath the surface. Human engineers, AI, and soldiers moved through steel tunnels like ghosts. She met Rhys there. They stood before a giant war table, displaying a galaxy now waking up. The truth changes everything, she said. Rhys nodded. But truth doesn't. Stop bullets. They'll still come. Let them, Kale whispered. Now we fight back. Across the stars, old Terran outposts lit up. Rebel fleets activated their transponders.
Oh.
Exiled commanders returned. Human banners, long hidden, were raised again. And in the center of it all, the wrath of Terra prepared for its final campaign. The galaxy thought they could erase humanity instead. They had created something far worse. A Terran vengeance that had waited 100 years, and it had just begun. The Council's fleets were burning. Every system that tried to resist the truth became a battlefield. Terran sleeper fleets, hidden in asteroid belts and forgotten moons, reactivated. Ships that hadn't moved in a century now swarmed out like steel. Locust, fast, quiet, deadly. The rebellion wasn't just human anymore. Dozens of species who had been lied to, controlled, used now, turned their weapons toward their former masters. The Council had ruled by fear, but that fear had changed sides. Now, it wore the face of Earth. On the bridge of the Wrath of Terra, Commander Reese Calder watched the data stream light up the screens. Systems were falling. The Terran war plan, stored for over 100 years, was unfolding exactly as designed. Phase 1. Awaken the archives. Done. Phase 2. Collapse Council communications. In progress. Phase 3. Cut the head. That part was next. Reese looked over at Kale, now wearing old Terran armor. We ready? Kale nodded. Fleets in position. The signal's clean. We hit the core world on your command. That world, Solaris Prime, was the Council's heart. Their capital. Untouchable for centuries. But Earth had never planned to stay dead forever. Reese gave the order. All units, jump. Cross the void. Terran ships vanished into slipspace. They arrived above Solaris like falling stars. Not hundreds, not thousands. 32 ships. All Terran. All silent, and all carrying weapons the Council had never seen. The Council's last grand fleet moved to intercept 3,000 warships, shields glowing. Weapons hot, the Council still believed in numbers. The Wrath didn't care. Virgil scanned. The entire enemy formation in under 0.4 seconds. Upload firing pattern. Reese ordered. Pattern locked. Virgil replied. Then the Wrath fired just one shot. A single beam thin. Blue. Silent, it didn't explode. It rewrote. Ships caught in the beam didn't detonate. They froze. Their systems failed. Lights flickered out, and they simply stopped. Like statues floating in space. 30 ships lost in the first second. The rest of the fleet panicked. But the Terran ships didn't chase. They moved through, like ghosts passing through chaos. The Iron Widow unleashed an electronic wave that turned. Entire fleets blind. The Silent Horizon opened its bay doors and dropped smart drones each. One capable of taking out a cruiser by climbing inside through engine ports. Kale's voice echoed over the comms. We go now. Shuttles launched. Reese and Kale led the strike team straight into the capital's surface defenses. They didn't go for the government. Not first. They went for the broadcasting core. The tower that fed every media signal to every world. It was time to speak to the galaxy. Inside the tower, guards fought. Drones attacked. Kale moved like lightning blasting, 2 at a time. Reese took a hit in the arm, but kept going. Virgil hacked the doors before they reached them. The final chamber opened. Inside stood a single being, Counselor Dravix. He aimed a pistol at Reese. This is all madness. Earth died. I saw it burn. Reese didn't blink. No, you saw it hide. What? And you helped bury it. You don't understand, Dravix snarled. We had to stop you. If Earth had finished what it started, the galaxy followed your ways, we'd all have fallen into. Chaos. Then maybe chaos was better than your lie. Reese pulled the trigger. Dravix collapsed. The war was still raging above. But the real weapon was now armed. Kale activated the tower. Virgil's voice echoed across every system, every world. Every species, the message played in 1,000 languages. This is Commander Reese Calder of the Terran Defense Network. Earth was betrayed. Earth was buried. But Earth is not gone. We remember everything. Video footage followed of the betrayal of the fleets. The final day when Earth's activated protocol ashfall and vanished in purpose. To every species who joined in silence. This is your chance to make it right. Stand with us, or fall with them. The message ended with an ancient Terran phrase. We are not conquerors. We are the storm that answers injustice. Across the galaxy, something shifted. Fleets turned, weapons dropped, flags changed, and Earth forgotten. Erased and feared became a rallying cry again. Not for domination, but for truth, and for vengeance above the Council Core. The Terran fleet pulled back. They didn't destroy the world. They didn't burn the cities. They left it intact in purpose. A message. Earth could have wiped them out, but Earth had chosen something worse. They had chosen to let the galaxy live. And live knowing they were no longer in control. Reese stood at the edge of the tower as the stars lit up with new fires of rebellion. We're not done yet, he whispered. Kale looked at him. What's next? He turned toward deep space. Find Earth. And behind them, the wrath of Terra turned its prow toward the unknown. Home was calling. The stars were too quiet after the fires of rebellion, after the fall of the Council's capital. After the truth spread across the galaxy like a lightning storm, something unexpected happened. Silence. No more battles. No more Council fleets. No. More false broadcasts. The galaxy had gone still. But Reese Calder didn't trust silence. He stood on the bridge of the wrath of Terra, staring at the empty space ahead. Kale stood beside him, arms crossed. Watching the navigation system spin, they had just received a strange signal. No known language, no coordinates, only a frequency, repeating. Low and ancient, Virgil had identified it instantly. It's Earth's fail-safe beacon, the AI said. Last used during the final retreat, activated only if Earth's core defenses were triggered. Reese nodded. Then someone's still alive. Kale's voice was low. Something. They jumped to the edge of the Orion Rift, a dead zone long believed unstable. Most ships avoided it. Nothing worked properly inside it. Navigation failed. Drones vanished. Time itself behaved strangely, but the wrath of Terra was not like other ships. It entered the rift without fear, and what it found inside shattered everything. There. Hidden behind artificial gravitational fields and space-folding barriers was a planet. Blue oceans, green landmasses, white clouds, and above it, a defense ring of massive stations and dormant Terran war platforms. Earth, still. Alive, still protected, Kale gasped. It's real. Reese said nothing. His hands tightened into fists. Virgil, send recognition codes. A pause. Then, recognition confirmed. Homeworld AI responds. Identity locked. The defense ring powered up, but not to fire. To welcome them, the ship was guided inward through layers of shields.
Minefields.
And Cloaca Rayzand finally into orbit. The last human colony. The last stronghold of the Terran legacy. Re-stepped. Onto a shuttle and descended. The sky was blue, the land untouched. Forests, oceans, and shining cities hidden beneath the trees as the shuttle landed. Waiting for him was a woman in a black uniform with silver stripes. Her hair was gray, her posture perfect. She saluted. Welcome home, Commander. We've been waiting. Reese blinked. You knew we'd come back. She nodded. Earth was never lost, only in hiding. The Council thought we were dead. But we watched. We prepared. Kale stepped beside Reese, stunned. Why wait so long? The woman looked at her with tired, knowing eyes. Because the galaxy wasn't ready. The lie had to rot from the inside. If Earth had returned too soon, it would have been crushed. But now, the Council is gone, the truth is out, and the people need something new to believe in. Reese looked across the city beyond the landing pad, glowing towers, green fields, the children running under twin moons. It was peace, real peace, but peace built on preparation. Massive hangars lined the mountain. Ranges ships slept beneath them. Cities were powered by fusion cores and guarded by planetary AI. Grids. Earth had never stopped building, never stopped watching. Kale whispered, This is why they feared you. Reese gave a small smile. No, this is why they should have joined us. The woman motioned them inside. We have much to discuss. The galaxy is changing. There are rebellions everywhere. Old species are rising. Some will want help. Some will want war. Reese nodded slowly. In Earth we lead, she said. Not with fear, not with lies, but with strength and truth. As the Terran leaders gathered ships across the stars, began receiving a new transmission marked with Earth's original seal. This is the Terran Command Network. Earth has returned. We offer alliance, stability, and defense. But we will not tolerate tyranny. We are the fire the darkness fears. Some listened, some rebelled, but none ignored it, because they all remembered what Earth's return meant. One rebel pilot whispered it best as he stared at the new signal flashing across his dash. They buried the humans and forgot one thing. His co-pilot looked over. What? He smiled. You can't kill an idea built on fire. And high above Earth, the wrath of Terra powered down at last, mission complete. But in its core, Virgil whispered one final line. History resets today. And this time, humanity would be the one writing it.